Good afternoon again. Good to see you. Uh, as you contemplate the city hosting, the county hosting this trial next week, Mike Rainville, what thoughts go to your mind? What are you looking for, watching out for? How do you analyze this for your own self, right? And in the context of what you think are the interests of the people that you want to represent in Ward 3?
That's a good question, Al. Uh, what I'm really interested in, as well as the people I've talked to, is just how this can bring about healing for our our city. Obviously the justice has to play out in the manner through the trial, but it's very clear that for us to go forward as a city, people have to buy into that it's a fair process, that it's a just outcome, and that is my hope personally, and the hopes of the people that I've talked to in the third ward, that true justice happens and that we can heal as a community and go forth and be prosperous. We all have to get back to our education, our jobs, making this city work. Right now, we've been standing still for really a year, and it's been terrible. We have to heal and move forward, and hopefully this trial will help do that.
What do you think are the ranges of positions or of understanding of people in your ward, from left to right or from top to bottom, from conservative to progressive? How do you identify, people on the spectrum? I know you've got everybody, right, with every possible view. But what comes to your mind as how groups of people are looking at this process as it unfolds?
Oh, it's this ward is so diverse in its thoughts on police actions. Just this weekend, I met with some young people that were arrested on the freeway after the general election. We're in that kettling process. Was 4 of the 650 that arrested. So they have a very critical point of view of the justice system and police itself. When I asked about the trial, they were optimistic. They felt that this is the opportunity to heal and go forward. And of course, there are people in this ward who are scared. They were part of the unrest and the damage, and so that's of concern too. But the overall trend is people want to move forward. They want to have justice done. I think the greatest thing is we're all listening to each other, Al. That for the first time ever in my life in Minneapolis, ears are wide open at all levels, and that doesn't matter how you feel about the upcoming trial or the police, but what it matters is that we're all listening to each other and we all want to heal and move forward, and that's very heartwarming.
So, Michael, the question I was going to ask is, how do we, adequately inform our voters, our neighbors, about their opportunity to bring their voice to bear? What's the tradition in Ward 3 that you want to both uphold and build on for voter engagement, and how do you do that?
Well, Ward 3 traditionally has some of the highest voter turnout in the area. And ironically, in the last 10 years, this ward has grown faster than any other ward in the city. So there are a lot of voters here. And, traditionally that was knocking on doors, little coffee parties, community meetings. I served in the St. Anthony West neighborhood group for 35 years. I did not run for election last week because I felt it would be unethical to run for office and be on a neighborhood board. But the neighborhood groups, the neighborhood boards have been very active in the past, helping get the word out. Of course, being neutral, but that's all upside down now because of the COVID. So, personal contact really is not in anybody's best interest. So, what I have been doing is a lot of Zoom meetings in the apartments and condos around here. I have building captains who introduce me to people, so I use Zoom, and it could be as few as 4 or 6 people. The other night I had 25 people, which was very interesting. Everybody's so passionate here; they all have a tendency to talk at once. So the person refereeing really had their challenges. But ultimately, I feel very confident that the vaccines will be rolling out. The virus will be somewhat put at bay And so that door-to-door, face-to-face activity can continue. Because ultimately, that's the best way to reach the voters is face-to-face. Now, I have a large amount of volunteers, and we'll be putting literature indoors, but people have to meet the candidates. You have alluded to that as well, Al, that people have to know who they're voting for. And for me, I take it very seriously that I will be wearing out a lot of pairs of tennis shoes this summer. So I plan on walking and knocking and listening.
It's great.
The neighborhood groups are doing really good work, and there's really engaged people, but they're not backed up with the proper support from the city. And that's just as basic as funding. So while there were millions of dollars 10, 15, 20 years ago when the NRP was first formed, and that really brought people because they could spend money in their neighborhood. They knew, so over here on the east side, we knew that a library was needed. And we worked with the library board and the other neighborhoods as a coalition of the Sheridan neighborhood, Botno neighborhood, St. Anthony West. And we had a new library. We even have a children's wing in there. And the St. Anthony West neighborhood donated some cute computers so the children could come and do their homework and further education. Well, that can't happen anymore because there's just not that funding. So it's really important moving forward. And should the voters see fit to have me serve them and I am elected, I will make sure I will do everything I can to get that funding back up. And again, I will reflect and act on Andrew's point and Alicia's point that people are so stressed out that for them to give their time, there should be some type of a monetary reward. A $20 gift card to Target goes a long, long ways.